Yo. The stuff most men won't talk about, the struggles that you have, the men have, when the women become the producer, the wife becomes the producer. Now, this is a topic that I didn't know that other men really struggled with. And so on Saturday, I had men from the Grill Alliance come in, and I was chatting with them about my past. But before that, they had went on a walk. And as they were coming back, I went into coaching, and as I was coaching, I started talking about 2017. I was depressed from losing my father. I went right into opening up the Vitality Mill, and then the next thing I know, my former franchise hits me with a non-compete clause, and so I have this $600,000 building that I'm not able to, and this is a story that I was creating, that I'm not able to do the advertising that I need to do, that I can't run the ads and be the face of the business and stuff, and my business just went down hard. And when it went that way, the next thing that happened was, at the same time, my wife's business was rising. She had just become an agent in insurance. She was making good money, and my money and everything that I had and was building had been falling. So I'd gone from the guy that was at the top of the top, Roland, being the producer and producing in business and winning awards, to not being able to not being able to produce, and it caused a lot of friction inside of my marriage. And so I went to, and I was just talking about to those guys, and I was just like, here's something that I'd struggled with me for a long time. And I mentioned that, and they were like, wow, that's crazy that you said that, because we were just walking and talking, and we've had that same experience, and that's something we're struggling with, or I had struggled with in the past, and this individual is struggling with right now. So I want to address it. The other thing is, I'm doing 90-day targets, and I've set 90-day targets to do more live videos, and so that's what I'm going to do a couple days a week, is try to come by here and deliver a little bit of value. At the same time, I want it to be something that you can take keys and be able to go and put it into play immediately. So I did take a little bit of notes, so I'm not all over the place, because I do get pretty passionate about this stuff. So my story, a little bit more in detail, was I was at this place in my life where I was producing and doing the things that need to be done, and then on the other side of it, I was depressed. Didn't have a motivation. I was frustrated because I couldn't create like I had in the past, and it was like a toilet that was kind of plunged up, and you couldn't get any flow through. And it was one of those things where I was at my wit's end. But on the other side of it, I see my wife, and she's rocking and rolling. What happened was our roles started to switch. She started becoming more of the leader. She started telling me how this is going to do, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Where in the past, it was more of me being able to step up. Now, this is the thing is a little bit different, is my wife is a straight leader. She straight gets after it. So she sees something needs to be done, and she takes action on it. And that was something that, with me stepping down, she started taking action. And she was saying things to kind of motivate me, to try to get me to take some type of action, to try to get me to go and move and produce, and to stand up as a leader that she knew I could be. And what I want you to understand is, sometimes your wife, and like my wife, they will say things to get you fired up so that you will take action. But where I was at lack of drive. I was lack of drive inside my business, inside the bedroom, all the way across. I was constipated as far as that stuff goes. Sedating on food, sedating on gambling, anything that I could do to just like try to take my mind off of all the things that I was dealing with and going with at that time. And at the same time, when your leadership's getting challenged and you're not being able to step up like you have in the past, it can impact you. So the biggest thing that I want to get through, and the biggest desires that I needed to capture, and let me just go real quick, is I needed to start taking it day by day. I needed to start taking day by day and getting some clarity on a few things. First, I need to get some clarity on who I am. Who is it that I am, and who is it that I want to become? Now, I know this sounds all woo-woo-ish as far as this stuff goes, but this is where most individuals are struggling, most men are struggling, is you don't really know what it is that you want long term. So if you have no idea what you want long term, then it's almost impossible to create a plan to get there. So that's why we jump from one hard thing to another hard thing, and we go back and forth. When you get clear on what it is that you want and who you are and what you stand up for, what starts to happen is you have a direct line to be able to get there. And all it is a straight line, and here's where I want to go, and here's where I am, and then now here's the obstacles and the struggles I'm going to deal with in it. And you know that it's game over as far as that stuff goes. So when I started getting clear on that, and I started setting some core values on what I stand for, like I do what I say I'm going to do. I started doing this when I started following through with everything I said I was going to do with integrity. If I see something on the ground, then I know that if I said that when I see stuff on the ground, I pick it up. If I walk past something and it's not picked up, then I automatically start looking at it and going like, dude, I would tell other people and I would judge other people for not doing that. So I just automatically pick stuff up and do things like that, like just a little bitty extra things. And that rolls over into the marriage as well, as far as when I see the dishes, when I saw the trash, when I saw things that needed to be picked up and needed to be taken care of, I started doing these little things without my wife having to ask me to do it. That's the key part right there. The reason I bring that up is when we start getting clear on what it is that we want, and you get clear on who it is that you are, then from there it's just action steps on what you're going to take to get there as far as that stuff goes. The second part of it is to quit choosing hard. So like first thing in the morning is what majority of you think is tell yourself that you're going to get a lot of accomplished. You're going to start accomplishing all this stuff. And what you do is you pick the hardest thing first off. And so what happens is you wake up, you tell your wife that you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to attack this thing and you're going to do this thing. And what happens is you pick the hardest thing. And when you pick the hardest thing, next thing you know, the alarm goes off and starts having these voices of like, hey, you know what? You don't need to do this right now. Let's not do this right now. So what I'm telling you is like when you wake up in the morning, find something that's simple. Find something that feeds energy and gives you energy and gets you lit up and gets you fired up and to start your day. And those stuff that I have something called the Ultimate Morning Checklist. If you struggle with morning routine and things like that, then I can hook you up with that as far as that stuff goes. But then when we start from doing there, now we've got some clarity on who it is that we want to become. We get clear on what is in the way, right? And then from there, you start to get really clear on what needs to be done in the morning time for me to show up and me to start just gaining some momentum. A lot of you will tell me that you need more motivation. What the lacking is energy. When you lack energy, you don't take action on things that you know you need to get done. But when you have energy, you'll go above and beyond. So it's not a motivation problem, it's a energy problem. We need to get that energy going in the morning time, and that's going to make it where your core values is. I show up and I do what I said I was going to do. Now what starts to happen is we have energy, so we can start showing up and doing what we said, but she'll start noticing that. She'll start noticing you getting up and going for that walk. She'll start noticing you getting up and going to the gym and working out. She'll start seeing these things, and then she'll start to go, he's starting to move. He's starting to make some changes. The reason I bring this up, and a big reason, was I had a consultation the other day, and a guy comes in and he's 270 pounds. He's like needs to lose weight. His wife comes in. She acts like she's interested as well. She's basically standing there, and when I'm talking to him, I'm asking him questions, right? I want to learn a little bit more about him. And she said he won't do anything he said he's going to do. This is the stuff she says. And so she says that, and I'm like, oh. So I talked to him a little bit more. I asked the guy. I said, Chris, what's your unique ability? And he stopped. He was like a deer in headlights. I said, what's your unique ability? He couldn't answer me. And what I was trying to explain to him is like when you have a plan, you have discipline. So like whatever your unique ability is, you earn that unique ability, and whatever your skill set is because you had a plan to work that created discipline. So I asked Chris, I said, Chris, what is your unique ability? And he was like, and so I turned to his wife thinking I was letting him off the hook because I felt bad for the guy because he couldn't answer and he couldn't tell me what he was good at. I turned, I looked over to his wife and said, what's his unique ability? Let him off the hook. And she was like, watching TV. Like it was a direct blow, like in the midsection, like I was just like covering like it hurt me. And then he went into, well, I used to be a good athlete. I used to do this. I used to do that. His wife hadn't had any respect for him. She said it over and over. He doesn't follow through. He doesn't do what he says he's going to do. He says he's going to do something. He does it for a little bit and then quits. Comes home, he just sits in the recliner and watches TV. The guy left, and so it's one of those things where he's either going to have a heart attack or he's going to get a divorce. It's going to happen real quick in the next few years, guaranteed. Because she's tired of his crap, and his body's sooner or later going to. Now, everybody was like, "Oh, poor guy, the poor guy." But what I'm telling you is he lost control. Yeah, he's still producing in business as far as that stuff goes, but she sees him, and he comes home, and he doesn't do anything else in any of the other areas, and he thinks that he's supposed to just produce in that one area, and that's all he's supposed to do, and that's why she's like, "I'm out. I'm checking out as far as that." So when those roles switch, when you're supposed to be the producer, then you're not producing anymore, it can definitely hurt you. Now, the reason I bring this up is the next part is, and the last part is like we start to have to identify. So then like you get clear on who you are and what you want. You have some core values and you get clear on a plan on how to get there, right? Then on top of that, now you start taking control in the morning time and you start picking some simple things that you can do that are going to give you energy. It could be getting in a cold shower. It could be getting 30 ounces of water in. It could be going for a 10-minute walk. You start building these wins up, and these wins start helping you create some confidence. They start helping you create some momentum and energy, and you start moving from there. And then what happens is then you start to identify what are the obstacles. Now, I said that I want to be this guy. What are the obstacles from where I want to be and where I am now? And what are the obstacles that are in front of me right now? And that could be one obstacle that you grab and you break it down into 3 parts. So you could say, this is the big obstacle and I need to do this, and it could be simple. I need to lose some weight. So it could be that I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And you identify the obstacles and then put some simple solutions to them, and then that's what your focus goes on. Clarity on where you want to go, clarity on who you are and what you stand for, clear path on what the obstacles are and building solutions, but then also a way to be able to tap in the morning so you have that energy. So just to recap as far as that stuff goes, like you're going to continue to struggle, and if your wife is seeing you say that you're going to do this and do that and do this and do that, and you're not following through, what has to happen is just quit talking and just start showing up and just start doing the simple stuff. And then what happens is she'll start to see that, and she'll start to see like he's stepping up, he's trying to lead again. And that's ultimately what they want, man. And because I tell you is the majority of the fights that I ever had with my wife have always been because I wasn't stepping up and I wasn't leading, and she was poking the gorilla. She was poking the gorilla, trying to get me just some reaction out of me. Just take some action. That's all she wanted. And she would say it, and I was just like, she don't understand. My friend, if you need the ultimate morning checklist, you can shoot me a message. I'll shoot you the ultimate morning checklist. But the strategy, the structure, that's exactly what I give you in the Game to 180. It doesn't have to be difficult. I went through the hard part, and what I've done is I've got a system that you can gamify your life to where you can learn it and you can cut, just like in the Fast Pass at Disney World. You can say, hey, Seth's already went through this long ass line. Let me just cut in front of him and then go and get the action steps and get some accountability and some systems and structure I can put in my life so I can start winning again. And the only way you know if you're winning is if you're keeping score. And the majority of you have no clue if you're winning or not. The only way you know if you're winning is what the bank account says and what the scale says. And if those are both going in different directions, you're going to struggle. Bottom line. You want some help with that Game to 180? I'd love to point you in the right direction. Shoot me a message, comment below, whatever, and I will get you any details you need. Seth Humphrey with the Gorilla Alliance. Have a fantastic day. Talk soon.